Seeing as I aim to be YouTube's local expert on furry erotica, I realized how ironic it was that the only thing I've yet to do is a genuine analysis. You know, the most obvious way to review any form of art. So why not? Here goes nothing. A genuine Paraphore analysis part 1. Mystery and aesthetic. My name's Jeff. Since everyone, your English teacher, knows no analysis is complete without a segment that lasts half the whole thing and focuses exclusively on some completely irrelevant detail, I guess we better start this off in the right paw. More specifically, we're gonna start with the first thing you see when you open up the game, the main menu. As far as the story part at least, I feel this menu portrays the moods of the game really well. The background is real eerie with blinking red light, yet the computer monitor just seems to override that. First of all because it's unaffected by the blinking light, but just as much because it fills so much of the screen, the music seems to fit what's on the screen far better than the back. The music is soothing, yet it's all alien, and at times it layers on top of itself, so it sounds almost like it's glitching out. It's more or less the same thing that's going on with the screen. The graphics are smooth, especially compared to the background's real nice, crust, yet the meteorite stands out and looks almost like a cult symbol. Still on the topic of music, I wanted to mention how this song's alien yet serene theme is pretty unique, and the only other place I've been able to find something like this is in Vaporwave. Of course, being the massive vapor fag I am, I had to bring this shit up, but I seriously think it's almost a little disappointing we don't see more clear Vaporwave and Para. Both Para and Vaporwave are unique postmodern ideas that both challenge how much they can do with their formats. I could easily see something Vaporwave 80 odd moods of Para. I doubt this is intentional, but a few songs from the OST could even pass as Vaporwave. New Friend and Credits sound a lot like Vapor Trap, especially the album Manipool by Vapora. The Apothecaria ambience reeks of Mallsoft, and Still Wandering from the purchasable OST sounds just like Dreamwave. Okay, this tangent's getting longer than Cage's dick. Back on topic. When you put all these things I talked about together, it creates a repressed sense of panic that's overridden by a sense of calm and mystery. It's as if there's this threat that's pushed to the back of your mind by whatever strange thing is happening on this monitor. I'll leave the note there in an attempt to keep this thing as spoiler free as possible in case anyone for any reason still haven't played this game. You totes should, by the way. Okay, now that we've milked the menu so dry that your English teacher would have to go get another mug of coffee, maybe we can actually move on now by clicking start. From here, it takes an astounding 4 lines before the game already gets meta. Well, semi. This part is super weird to explain because Paraphore is a game inside a game. You play as an individual who plays a game called the exact same thing as the game that you're playing. Just to make sure everyone's on the same page, when I say player, I refer to the in-game character playing Paraphore, and when I say you, I refer to you who might or might not have played this game before/after watching this video. Okay, so to the point. The thing is that this game is from the start conscious about the player. It's just a central part of the story. But what this has to do with the aesthetic is how the game expresses it through the graphics. From the second you click start, there's so much computer aesthetic going on, it's hard for you not to be all conscious about the fact that this is happening on a computer. The VHS filter, the pixels, the background noise that sounds like a printer orgy, you get it. The game uses this to make you aware that you're playing a game. Of course, you already know you're playing a game, but a lot of games does an effort to make you forget that. Games like Skyrim can be so immersive that you stop being conscious about the fact that you're playing a game, but not here. From the start, the importance of the fact that this is all happening digitally is set clear, but more interestingly is how this follows you for the rest of the game. After the introduction with Mint, you're dropped into the island to explore for yourself. Here the world stops looking so computery and the ambience and graphics instead change depending on the location you're in. Yet the computery aesthetic still pops up every now and then. Button noises, notification sounds, especially the little you got mail sound of Mint trying to get through to you. While subtle, it's still very much there, and it's there for a reason. It's as if the game just doesn't want you to forget that this is a game. There's just always some kind of little hint to remind you, and I think this works great. You being a player allows you to do certain things, and it gives you a certain relationship with the Islanders. When this is such a key part of the story, it obviously pops up often in dialogue. With the aesthetic, it feels much more natural when the characters bring up the topic, because you never get to immerse yourself so much that the concept of you being a player isn't present in the back of your mind. Aesthetic usually has a supporting role when it comes to media. Usually it strengthens the story writing or the characters. Here it sorta does that job too. It helps glue the story together in a way that feels feels more natural. But another interesting point is how the themes in the narrative can actually work as an aesthetic. So what exactly does the Virgin mean by that? Well, think of the term pray for a cuter future. It serves a concrete purpose in the story by being a code message that represents a certain project, but it does more than just that. The term is vague enough to make you question what it means, and when you see it pop up place and place again, it starts to mean something in itself, even if you don't understand the message behind it. After having seen it a few times, you start to associate it with this mysterious unknown, and that way the term, which simply is a part of the story, can alone create a setting in the same way that a piece of music or artwork would. And it's not just that, the ciphers does the same. I might even argue some locations like the fake moon or the apothecary does the same by having this mysterious and secretive aura around them. I think this is a pretty interesting perspective on it, because when you think of the aesthetic, it's typically associated with graphics, music, or some other external details that aren't a direct part of the story. Yet the way some of these locations or topics are handled in Paraphore, I'd say these elements aid the theme and build mood in a way that art classifies being part of the aesthetic. Of course, there are plenty of traditionally aesthetical ambience, artwork, interface, and etc. But that also aids the point that I'm trying to say here. Paraphore is great at utilizing aesthetic in so many ways, both to help express the story, create settings, or just look more interesting and even personal. I really like the customization parts. They don't really add anything to the story, but they're still really cool to have the option to make the game a little bit more you. Considering that Para was Kid's first game, I think, then it's pretty impressive to see how artsy this thing is, and just as much how well all this works together. And it doesn't feel excessive either. Aesthetic certainly isn't the more the better thing. If you just mindlessly pour effects into a game, it'll probably end up looking like one of those shitty overdone PowerPoint presentations with an effect for just everything that can possibly have an effect. And yes, I realize the irony of the fact that I just spent 2 A4 pages worth of script talking about how much I love a game's aesthetic, and now I'm comparing it to a PowerPoint presentation, but there's the best example I had in mind, so named Jeff. I think that's all I had for this topic. Tell me if this was an interesting take on the topic of furry filth, and is there any particular topic you'd like me to do an unironic analysis of? Comment section's there to be used. Use it. Eat your vegetables.